Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Campbell, and I am excited to be able to teach you lesson 3, summarizing fiction text today. All right, second grade readers, let's review yesterday's reading response together. Just like yesterday, I'm going to give you a few seconds to prepare. Feel free to pause the video now. I'm going to stop talking for about 5 seconds so you can gather your materials and then unpause me when you're ready. You'll need a summary map from yesterday, and it could be your homemade one. You also need your written summary and something to write with. Okay, let's get to it. So our job was to use a summary map to summarize the story elements at the beginning, middle, and end of a fiction text. We took a look at a lost button. We read it together, but your job was to figure out which elements to put on our summary map. If you were like me, I decided to go through and to just do a dump of story elements. If there was a character in the story, I wrote it down. If there was a place in the story, I wrote it down. And then I went back through to decide which were most important to the actual story and which I wanted to include in a summary. So very quickly, I'm going to go back through, take a look at your summary map, and you can add any elements if you missed them, and just see how you did. So the characters and the setting, which I'm going to include in the beginning of my summary map, some characters that I read about were frog, toad, sparrow, and raccoon. The setting that I found in the text were the woods, river, meadow, by a tree, dark path, and Toad's house. And then finally, I kind of inferred that it was daytime. No one was in their pajamas, no one was sleeping, they were out and about. So I just guessed that it happened during the day. As far as the big problem or main conflict in the middle of the story, at first I noticed that Toad had lost his button. That seemed problematic to me. But then as I read on, I found out that Frog spent a lot of time helping Toad find his button, but the lost button was actually at Toad's house. And then finally, when I'm summarizing the end, I want to think about how the problems were solved. Uh, Toad shows how thankful he is for Frog's help by sewing the buttons that they found on a jacket. So now I'm going to go back through each section of the story, and I'm going to eliminate some things, some elements that really aren't very important, things that I'm probably not going to include in my summary. So as far as the characters go, Sparrow and Raccoon made the story more interesting. It was fun to see Frog and Toad talk to them, but they're not really super important to the story. So I'm going to cross those out. Then when I'm taking a look at the setting, I've listed a lot of places. You remember the grocery bag analogy I used a few days ago, where I could list everything in the bag? That's kind of what I'm doing now with this setting. I can sum it all up in one word, and I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to take all of these places and just say that they were outside. And then I'm going to leave Toad's house because that's where they ended up. I'm going to eliminate daytime. I'm probably right about that, but is it something I'm going to include in my summary? Nope. And then as I was reading yesterday, I realized that the main problem was not that Toad lost his button, but that Frog spent a lot of time helping him find it when it was really at his house. Okay, and I'm happy with the details that I included in the ending of my summary map. So now I'm going to use what's left on this tool to write my summary. I will read my summary out loud to you, and as I read, I'm going to show you where I included those elements. Then when I'm done, you're going to have the opportunity to make sure you included them in your summary too. All right, here's a summary of a lost button. Toad noticed he lost a button when he was on a walk with Frog. When Frog helped him look for it, he found many buttons, but Toad's lost button had been at his house the whole time. Toad made Frog a jacket with the buttons they found to thank Frog for helping him look for his lost button. All right, so the characters that I included at the beginning were Frog and Toad. Didn't need to mention Sparrow or Raccoon. And then I took the setting of the story and I really focused on when the story occurred. And it really happened when they were on a walk together. I didn't add that in my chart, but as I thought about summarizing in a sentence, that seemed to make the most sense. Next, I mentioned the big problem of the story. And that's what my middle sentence really summarizes, that Frog helped him look for it. He found lots of buttons, but really the button was at his house. And then finally, I talked about the resolution and I described that Toad made Frog a jacket with all the lost buttons that they found. You can pause this video, go ahead and make sure and circle and underline each of those elements in your own summary. All right, well done. If you needed to add some, that's okay. We're going to have another opportunity to practice today. And this is summarizing is a skill that you can practice as you're reading all the time. So here's our learning target for today. I can use story elements to summarize the beginning, middle, and end of a fictional text. As you practice summarizing a fiction text independently today, please remember that summarizing is way different than retelling. When we're summarizing, we want to make sure it's brief or short and that you only talk about the most important parts of the story. When you're retelling, you're going through every single event in the order that it happens, but both should include those important story elements, which we talked about in our summary map. And then you can use your 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why, and 1 H, how, to help you answer questions that are going to help you summarize. So let's do it again. Today's a little different. We're going to take a quick break from Frog and Toad, our friends, and you are going to participate in an interactive video and answer some comprehension questions about a text called The Hungry Tiger, the Man, and the Clever Jackal by Naya Shaw. I'm going to take you on a quick tour of this video. You're going to click on the link and it's going to take you here and it says go. So I'm going to go. Click on it and then you're going to be talked through the steps. You can't hear the audio right now, but it's going to help you through and let you know what you need to do. You're going to click on the book and eventually it will take you to the text you're going to read today. So the program is going to ask you some questions about the text as you're going, and this is where you're going to practice your summarizing skills. So right now you see a question for me, and then the text will open and you can read it through the interactive video. All right, let's head back to the directions for your reading response today. And then I wanted to leave you with an extension activity. There are more chapters of Frog and Toad, our friends, that we did not read together this week. Please feel free to just read them for enjoyment. We've read 2. You might as well read the rest of the text. And then you could complete a summary map. You could think about the story elements to help you summarize the beginning, middle, and end, as well as 5 W's, N, and H. Here's a graphic organizer with guiding questions to help you. And then here's a space for you to write a summary in your own words. You could also summarize whatever book you're reading for enjoyment right now. And you could use those tools to help you do that. So I just want to thank you so much for letting me teach you from my own home and teach you in your own home. Special shout out to the Chimborazo Jaguars. We miss you guys. And then last but not least, I just want to share some of the resources that we've been using to teach you these past 3 summarizing lessons. Here they are. So we've found some resources to help you with summarizing through Powtoons, YouTube, iReady, Flocabulary, and Epic Books. Thanks again. And we miss you, second graders, and happy summarizing.
Finally, we asked the question, is it art? Can a banana be art? Well, that depends. It might depend on the context. It might depend on how we present it. But once we make that decision, we definitely want to commit. Thanks for joining.